All right, ladies and gentlemen. Everything appears to be in order. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Yo, peoples, Q92 here, and welcome back to yet another iteration of One Piece. Chapter, reaction, review, and reflections all in one stream, so it may go a little long. I'm still going to do My Hero Academia directly after this, but this may take a while since there were 4 chapters that were released during October, including today's chapter that we're going to react to. Now, in the spirit of Halloween, well, I can't really say that this is a surprise of what I'm wearing, but you guys seen my usual Admiral outfit and everything. You guys seen this before. It's nothing new. I wear this all the time whenever I'm doing reflections. I got Kingdom Hearts pins up here due to the flaps of this jacket always coming out whenever I did my reflections, but here's my usual getup that I wear for you guys. And I feel like it fits. I feel like it fits today due to today being Halloween. And me dressing up actually makes a whole lot of sense versus the other times where I would just be wearing this. And some people may look at it like, why is he dressing up like this? I feel like Halloween is a perfect excuse for me to have this stuff on. But let's go ahead and get started on today's chapters. It's good to see everyone. It means something to me when I have a live stream up and you guys are here and you guys are just talking and chilling and just being like an all-around great community when I haven't even started a stream yet. I feel like I've really made it as a YouTuber when I can get people who are just chilling on my stream, just talking to one another, just casually speaking to one another before I even start anything. That means I'm doing something right, and I'm happy about it. So let's go ahead and get started with today's chapter, chapter 1030. Let me put the microphone close to my mouth. Chapter 1030, echoing the impermanence of all things. What? Echoing the impermanence of all things? Does this have something to do with the voice of all things? I don't know. I could just be overstepping myself. But we're just at the cover page right now. Reader request, Brook careful not to step on a line of army ants. Now, if I remember anything about ants in One Piece is that they can... just about any animal in One Piece is that they can end your life insurance real quick, and that includes ants as well. I remember that One Piece movie where ants pretty much ate an entire giant fish, I forget, and they ate it down to the bone in seconds. Never, ever mess with any animals in One Piece. All right, let's get started. Now, just to recap, in the last chapter, Killer was able to get a win on Basil Hawkins by using Basil Hawkins' own power against him. And because Basil Hawkins had Kid's life attached to his, and whatever Killer tried to do to him would be reciprocated on whatever Killer tried to do to Hawkins would be reciprocated on Kid. And Kid is in the middle of a fight with Law with Big Mom. So, Killer figured out that, hey, if that doll is in his left arm, that's also Kid's left arm. But he doesn't have an arm there anymore. So if I cut that off, then nothing will happen to Kid, but that damage will be sustained on Hawkins. So Killer takes off Hawkins' entire left arm, not right arm, takes off Hawkins' entire left arm, saving Kid from being linked to him, and then proceeds to just slice through Hawkins straight up the middle. And that fight is now over. So now, we are slowly but surely moving towards ending all these other fights. And it appears that we're coming up on the fight with Scratchman and Drake. So, now let's go ahead and see this dialogue. I see Scratchman's face and I see Drake's face. So let's go ahead with this dialogue. I'm guessing you're a Navy spy. Cave chamber. But that doesn't matter at this point. The only thing that matters now is whether you can take out Kaido or not. By the time the dust settles on this battle, the winner will be at death's door, whoever it is. Finishing them off is going to be a piece of cake. And Drake is just looking at him as Apu has surrounded himself by numbers. Numbers, Inbi, Fuga, and Zanki. And they are just ginormous giants with huge horns on their heads. What do you think? Want to join with us and seize it all at the very end? We're not aligned with anyone here. Why would we fight each other? And Scratchman is just chilling with the numbers, eating food, drinking booze. They're not even taking part in any fights right now. They are just chilling by themselves. And then Drake says, I've heard enough. What makes you think I would trust you in any way? Let's not get into an argument about who's more trustworthy. I'm bringing this up because I think it would benefit us both. You'll never get an opportunity like this again. Inside the castle, first and second floor stairs, we have the Gifters. The Gifters that were affected by Tama's Devil Fruit, along with what appears to be Nami and Usopp. Along with Nami and Usopp. Apparently, what's his name? I forget his name. The dude that has the giraffe for a whole section. He's carrying Kumachio along with Daifugo right now. Hang in there, Kumachio! Heave ho! Heave ho! And apparently Usopp and the rest of them, including Lady Speed and Gazelle Man, they're all running and carrying Kumachio while they're running through this area here. Hurry before the fire catches up to us! And then Usopp screams out and says, yeah! It's a freak... Well, someone says, yeah! It's a freakish monster! And Usopp says, huh? Huh? It's a leg monster! It's all legs! Whoever you are, save me! Wait, Kinemon? Kinemon! Kinemon's legs! Hold up. Wait a minute. Whoever you are, save me! And you know that Kinemon, back on Punk Hazard, when he was separated in multiple pieces by Law, he was able to speak to people by, well, farting. So that's how he's speaking right now. But that begs the question, how are his legs up and moving about? Law didn't separate him, because he's bleeding out of the top of his legs. I'm kind of confused right now. Law wasn't around Kinemon when Kaido stabbed him. So how is Kinemon's legs running around on their own? It's just Kinemon's legs! No torso, no nothing, just his legs running around like it did on Punk Hazard. How are they running around? And he's bleeding from the top of his torso. I have so many questions. And Usopp says, wait a second, what are you doing here? I know that's you, Kinemon. And then his legs say, who goes there? I am Kinemon. I am searching for my friends. I am your friend. It's me, Usopp. And then Usopp notices that there's tons of blood on him right now. Whoa, there's so much blood. Are you all right? And then Nami says, he can't hear you, Usopp. His ears are over there. Oh, yeah. Identify yourselves, Poot. How do we do that? How about this? And Nami pokes him. Did you just trace the crescent moon of the rebellion? Then I assume you must be a comrade too. Oh, so she made this... She traced the symbol. She traced the symbol of the tattoo that they all have so that Kinemon can recognize that, hey, it's a friend. Did you trace the crescent moon of the rebellion? Then I assume you must be a comrade too. Not two, toot. You know, like poot, toot. Please hear me out. And then Usopp is just standing there listening. And, oh, his name is Hamlet. I'm gonna borrow Hamlet. You take care of Tama. The people can't get enough of me. Many thanks, comrade, whoever you are. On the first floor, there is a ladder in the crawl space in the left tower as you face the castle. My friend is barely breathing and needs urgent help. And then it cuts to the area where Kinemon is. And Kiku is. The area where Kaido pretty much came to kill Momonosuke and where he tried the same spot where Kaido came down and stabbed through Kinemon. And it shows Kiku there, unmoving. It shows Kinemon thinking to himself, hold on, a bit longer, Kiku. I have found some of our allies. It is hard to believe that I still live with my torso severed. After Sir Law cut me in two, perhaps I was never properly attached again. It is a miracle if I can use this to save Kiku's life, if nothing else. And so Kinemon is just lying there, legless. What? But I thought when Law cut you, it wasn't like an actual cut. So when he reattaches you, it's like you've never been cut at all. You mean to tell me that all this time from Punk Hazard to Dressrosa to Zoe and everywhere else, he's never been fully, properly replaced after all this time? I have so many questions. And then someone's coming on a Denden Mushi. Hey, answer me, Kanjuro. Answer me, Kanjuro? Who's calling for Kanjuro? Oh, it's Orochi! And then, apparently it's Orochi. Hey, answer me, Kanjuro! And then Kinemon thinks, is that the voice of the beheaded Orochi? But Kanjuro is dead already. Yes, Lord Orochi. Kanjuro is still alive? After all this time? What the heck? Doesn't anybody stay dead? Yes, Lord Orochi. You sound like you're on death's door, Kanjuro. Indeed, the curtains are closing. Well, you've done admirably. It was a splendid act. Your praise means everything to me, my lord. Can you hear the audience? How they cheer for you. For me. That's right, but alas, how galling, how vexsome. Our ancestors await a proper theatrical encore, and you must give it to them, Kanjuro. Depict the burning hatred of the Kurozumi clan. Who is the true victor? The enduring anger of the Kurozumis prowls the halls of this castle, heading deeper and deeper into the depths, until at the very bottom of it all you reach our burial crypt. Only you can lay our souls to rest, Kanjuro. And Kanjuro is drawing something on the ground. As you wish. I shall perform my final dance, the glorious death of the Kurozumi clan. And apparently Kanjuro has created a giant, some sort of giant. Did I say giant? I meant to say giant, because I'm reading what it's called. Some sort of giant flaming creature of some kind, and is immediately setting the Beast Pirates on fire. Nah, don't touch it, or you'll catch on fire! What is that monster? Kazenbo. Apparently it's called Kazenbo. And it's a giant flaming creature that's just crawling through the castle, setting everything on fire, including people as well. Report! Report! An enormous freakish apparition has appeared on the second floor of the castle! And then it cuts to Momonosuke, who's still outside, saying, all I can do is build them up, bit by bit. The creature is passing through walls, gliding about like some kind of ghost! And then it shows the people in the flower capital and people having fun. And then it cuts back to Onigashima. The castle is now a sea of flames! And then we cut to Brook with Robin, who's now fully up now. Robin is up now. We should hurry, there's no time to fight anymore. And it shows the Minks fighting Beast Pirates and everybody. It shows CP0, who is apparently is no longer in the room they were. They're actually making a move now. They're standing. They were sitting this whole time. Now they're standing. It shows Marco. It shows Izo. It shows Kawamatsu. It shows Queen up against Sanji. It shows Luffy. It shows Queen against Sanji. It shows King against Zoro. And then it shows Luffy and Kaido. And then apparently this is Orochi speaking, saying, allies of Kozuki, emperors of the sea, all who put on airs will be brought low. Don't think I don't know, Kaido. You've got that huge armory beneath the castle, all those weapons I had you create. Go and light them all up, Kanjiro. Blow all the kingdom come. And where are you, Fukudo Kuju? Get here so we can escape. This pirate war does not concern us. And then it shows Yamato with the Beast Pirate saying, Yo, Master Yamato, where are you? And Yamato just blows past them in her full Okumi no Okuchi no Makami for. I'm gonna butcher the name of her divine wolf form. Let me just say that, because if I keep trying to say the name of it, I'm just gonna butcher it. I'm sorry. She just blows past them in her full divine wolf form. The armory on the bottom of the armory is on the bottom floor of the castle basement. I hope I can make it in time. Do whatever you can to slow the island's descent, Momonosuke. And then it shows her running up towards an area, and then all of a sudden, she notices something. She says, huh? Ikoku sovereignty! And we all know who uses that move. And it appears that, yep, it's Big Mom. Ikok! And everyone is just staring in awe as this massive blast comes from inside the castle out onto the performance floor. We see Kids Punk Gibson, a part of it, and Yamato is watching as Big Mom is riding on top of Prometheus. And she's just out there preparing to just butcher Kid. Mama! Let's start with the first one then. And Big Mom is right there in front of Kid. You're mine, Kid! And then Kid is thinking, hey, Trafalgar, have your powers awakened? And then Kid is, and this is a flashback to when Kid and Law were speaking to each other, and Law says, I'm still not used to it. I'll do it if I'm on my last two legs. But the stamina consumption is extreme and it ensures I'll lose the battle. Same's true for me, but we're not getting anywhere like this. Use your last resort to back me up. And it shows Law bringing up a room, and then he's not bringing up a room. What the heck is he doing? What is he doing? He doesn't create a room, but he creates a floating orb in his hand, and he runs it across his sword. Anesthesia. And it shows Law jumping off and coming up. And he's... Holy crap! Yo! Law uses a move called Anesthesia, jumps in the air, and pierces through Big Mom. Like his sword goes through her. We have never seen anything pierce Big Mom's skin. And this surprises her, and then Law says, the penetration does nothing on its own. Instead, Kroom. Oh! I thought it was just a sound effect. It's not room. It's called Kroom. Kroom. This is a different type of room. Kroom. I misread that as like a sound effect. Kroom. Kroom. Anesthesia. And he runs it across his sword and he pierces into Big Mom, and then he says, the penetration does nothing on its own. Instead, Kroom creates shockwaves from within. And he says, shock will. And then it causes a massive shockwave on the inside of Big Mom. Yo! 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 Big Mom is bleeding. Big Mom has been injured. This is the first time we've seen this. Big Mom has actually been injured. She gets hit by this shock will, or shock will A. It has an L, it has an E on the end of it, so I don't know if it's shock while or shock will or shock will A or whatever. But the shock waves explode in Big Mom. Smoke comes out of her mouth, and she's bleeding. And Prometheus is saying, Mama, you're bleeding. And Big Mom says, you've really done it. And Big Mom says, you've really done it now, you little brat. And then Kid runs up and says, here, have some magnesium, a sign. And then Prometheus gets stuck to Big Mom. Yo, he's turning Big Mom into a big old magnet. Huh? I'm stuck to Mama. What's going on? Did I turn into a magnet? And then all the weapons and everything metal starts to fly from everyone's hands. He turned Big Mom into a Chibaku Tensei. Hey, my weapon! Look how the tower's metal beams are becoming exposed. And Big Mom is still in the air as all of this is happening. And the steel girders that were supporting these towers that she's between, they come ripping out of the towers, and they all start coming towards Big Mom. Huh? Now get me out of here, Trafalgar. And then Law says, don't tell me what to do. Punk! Clash! And all the support beams come ripping out of the towers directly into Big Mom in one big massive crash. And that's the end of the chapter. So when Kid was talking to Law about have his powers awakened, does that mean that Law has an awakened devil fruit now? His Ope Ope no Mi is now awakened? We need to talk about this. Hold on, hold on. Ope Ope no Mi. We need to look this up. We need to look this up right now. Is it awakened? Is Law's Ope Ope no Mi awakened? Hold on, let me see. Awakened. Counter shot, gamma knife, Sturban. It is awakened! It is awakened! And we have what these moves are called. It's called Kroom. Okay. Yo, the Ope Ope no Mi, it's already called the Ultimate Devil Fruit. And that was before we just learned that it's awakened. Now it's awakened. What more can it do? It's awakened now. Okay, so we have the awakened techniques. Kroom Anesthesia. Law creates a miniature room around his blade, allowing it to pierce any defense without actually harming it, which is why Law was able to stab straight through Big Mom's throat from the back, and it didn't actually harm her. But Offset, another move, this technique was first used against Big Mom and allowed Law to pierce even her hockey-clad skin. And then we have Shock Will. After piercing someone with Kroom, Law gives them an extremely painful electric shock. This ability is potent enough to cause Big Mom to cough up blood. Big Mom may be a tank on the outside, but you can't do much for your organs on the inside. And Law just sent a ginormous electric shock wave inside of her body, with enough force to cause her to cough up smoke and blood. Wow. Law's devil fruit is awakened. So what more can it do? Because we've seen awakened devil fruits before. Like we've seen Katakuri and his Mochi Mochi no Mi, able to turn his surroundings into mochi. We've seen Doflamingo with his awakened Ito Ito no Mi, and he's able to turn his surroundings into string. But in the terms of Law and his basically space-time manipulating, do whatever I want inside of this room abilities, what does that mean for everything else? I'm sorry, I'm just kind of stuck on that. Best thing is there is no break. Right. Kinemon ruined this chapter. Oh, you mean with his legs running around Putin and trying to signal to people to come rescue Kiku and himself? That still confused me, though. You mean to tell me that when Law amputates people inside of his room, it's not actually... And when he brings them back, you mean to tell me that they're not actually absolute? For Kinemon to say, hey, my body's not entirely whole, all this time since Punk Hazard? Maybe in Kinemon's case, the Straw Hats were the ones who reattached Kinemon and not Law. As a result, he still survives as the effects of Law's ability is still in play. Only Law can reattach him. That's a good point. He was reattached by the Straw Hats. And since they had absolutely no idea about Law, the majority of Luffy's crew had no idea about Law's ability, maybe them reattaching them on their own was a pseudo way for his body to be back together again. Because when Law reattaches people, that's fine. We don't see any problems from them. But Kinemon was pieced back together by the Straw Hats. That would explain things. I feel like that might actually be a very, very plausible excuse for why Kinemon's legs are running around. That might be the most plausible excuse I've heard. But Orochi's still around, telling Kanjuro to do one last thing, and then Kanjuro conjures up and draws this creature called Kazenbo, which just starts going through the entire castle, setting it on fire, with Orochi saying, hey, Fukurokuju, what are you doing? Let's go ahead and get out of here. This pirate business and this war doesn't concern us. So Orochi's looking to try and escape while all this is going on, but I highly doubt he's going to make it out unscathed. Dude's been beheaded several times already. And I count his Yamata no Orochi heads as well. But the big takeaway from this chapter is the fight between Big Mom, Kid, and Law. Now, here's the thing, though. When it cuts to Big Mom using Zikoku sovereignty, and it shows Kid being knocked outside by this blast because he was using his Punk Gibson before, we're recounting back to the events of when he says, hey, Trafalgar, have your powers awakened? And Law's all like, I'm still not used to it. I'll do it if I'm on my last leg. So the reason why we don't see Law using his awakened abilities is because it consumes so much stamina. Even more than him creating a room back in Dressrosa so big that Doflamingo and Treble couldn't see it when they were on the roof. This consumes even more stamina. So using awakened abilities for the Ope Ope no Mi is incredibly taxing. Even more than when he, like I said, used a giant room way back when on Dressrosa. So it's not without its drawbacks. But the stamina consumption is extreme and it ensures I'll lose the battle. And then Kid says, same's true for me, but we're not getting anywhere like this. Now, part of me was thinking, is he saying same's true for me because his powers have awakened, or is he saying same's true for me because stamina, it takes a lot of stamina, and if I use up all my stamina doing this fight, then I'm going to lose. That's what I kind of interpreted from that. So let me pull up Kid. Let me pull up Kid real quick, because he had a new move where he said assign, and apparently with this move called assign, he is able to mark a person as pretty much just like a giant magnet, and they all start attracting metal towards them. So let me come down here, and then we'll get started on the reflections. This was a really good chapter. I liked it. One of the big takeaways for me was the fact that Big Mom was actually injured for the very first time. But, yes! Yes! Okay! It looks like I was right. Kid's devil fruit is awakened too. So it does mean that Kid and Law have awakened devil fruits now. So now it's not just the fact that Kid is able to attract and repel things for himself. He is able to imbue someone with attraction or repelling now with a sign. So this chapter pretty much confirms that both Law and Kid have awakened devil fruits. Because if I'm looking at the Jiki Jiki no Mi, which is the name of Kid's devil fruit, it goes down to awakened techniques, which pretty much confirms that both Law and Kid's fruit are awakened. Awakened techniques, a sign. We saw that when he touches Big Mom. A sign. Kid touches a foreign object or person and thereby turns them highly magnetic. First used against Big Mom, which caused Napoleon to be stuck to her head. Now, I remember in the last time I was talking about One Piece, and one of you asked me how come Kid doesn't just take Napoleon away from Big Mom. We're seeing the opposite of that right now. And Big Napoleon is now stuck to Big Mom. That's how strong her magnetism that Kid just imbued her with is. Not only that, but with the new move we saw today called Punk Clash, literally meaning magnetic clash, after magnetizing someone else with a sign, Kid greatly increases their level of attraction, causing them to draw countless pieces of metal from large distances towards them. When used against Big Mom, she was quickly buried underneath a mountain of metallic objects. The name of this technique may be inspired by the British punk rock band The Clash. So both Kid and Law have awakened devil fruits. Interesting, very interesting. I really love the ending of chapter 1014 and chapter 1015 because of Kinemon's sacrifice. I also love Raizo's speech in chapter 1022 while showing all the scabbards. Now it's ruined with this, shaking my head. Here's the thing. I don't know how I feel about Kinemon's legs just running around. Like, we have Katos' theory. Since Kid is awakened and has conquerors, could this imply that Law has conquerors too? It would make no sense to have a big three and Law is the only one without it. That being said, Luffy has two too. See, here's the thing. You having an awakened devil fruit doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have conquerors haki as well. Because it's not... Because we've seen instances of people having awakened devil fruits but not having conquerors haki. Example. The Minotaur guards of Impel Down. All three of them that we've seen are awakened Zoan users, but they don't have conquerors. They're all awakened. That's the reason why they look like that. Those aren't just like regular animals. Those are people with awakened Zoan fruits, but they don't have conquerors. So even though Kid has conquerors, and even though Luffy has conquerors, having an awakened fruit doesn't necessarily mean that the person also has conquerors as well. So I feel like Law doesn't, and I've said this about a couple of people. I said this about Zoro, but then Zoro has conquerors. I don't feel like Law needs to have, those are just guards. Exactly, they're just guards, but they're awakened Zoan guards. So having an awakened devil fruit doesn't necessarily mean that you have conquerors hakis as well. But all the awakened are paramecia. Okay, hold on. Let me just come down here real quick. Let me just pull up Impel Down. And let me pull up the guards. Alright, guards and beasts. Alright, Minnow Rhinoceros, awakened. Minnow Koala, awakened. Minnow Zebra, awakened. Minnow Chihuahua, awakened. Minnow Taurus, awakened. All of the Minotaur-like guards have all awakened devil fruits. Every single one of them. Every single one. The zebra, the chihuahua, the koala, the rhinoceros, and the regular Minotaurus. They are all awakened Zoan devil fruit users. It is confirmed right here. One of the 5 jailer beasts ate an awakened Zoan class devil fruit. All of them are confirmed awakened Zoans. Now, let me come down here to the definition of an awakened Zoan as soon as this page loads up. You're correct on the guards, but I'm thinking about all the awakened Paramecia users. They all have it. True, but does that really need to be a running theme, though? Like, all Paramecia awakened Devil Fruit users all have Conqueror's Haki. That's just what I'm thinking. Does it really need to be like a running theme for them, though? That's just me. That's just me, though. I feel like Law doesn't necessarily need to have Conquerors. Because then it's just like, okay, so we're just passing out Conquerors to everyone who's an awakened Paramecia fruit? Like, what if Buggy awakens his Bara Bara no Mi? Does that mean he'll eventually have Conqueror's Haki as well? That's something to think about. All these different Paramecia users who awaken their devil fruits, does that necessarily mean they'll fall into the category of having Conquerors? Not everyone needs to have it. That's just my opinion. But overall, this was a good chapter. Let's get started on going through all the previous chapters that we have throughout the month of October. Now, here's the thing before I stop with talking about this chapter. I'm thinking they have to have it in order for it to be awakened, just some headcanon. I don't know if that's the case. If that's the case, then that means that every Paramecia user out there has the potential to have Conqueror's Haki. I was thinking all the D-Clan would naturally have Conquerors. You know what? I kind of forgot about that. Maybe. But then we're starting to go off on the whole matters of the D-Clan, and then we have to imagine every D member in One Piece potentially having Conquerors. That includes Garp. So it's just a lot of things to think about concerning whether or not, if you're awakened, does that necessarily mean you also have Conquerors as well? Now, if you're a member of the D-Clan, that just opens up a whole new list of topics to talk about. But that's just me. But let's go ahead and get started with these previous chapters that we've went through, and then we'll go back through this chapter and note all the noteworthy things. So, we have 4 chapters that came out in the month of October. Chapters 1027, 28, 29, and today's chapter 1030. So if we go through 1027, I'm not going to spend way too much time going through each of these. We'll just talk about what's going on in each chapter, move on to the next one, talk about what this story may be leading to, and all the loose ends that are still to be tied up, and all that's going on. So chapter 1027, Danger Beyond Imagining, was pretty much a chapter after Luffy split the sky against Kaido, and after Nekomamushi and Inuarashi defeated both Jack and Pedals Pero, and all this is going on. Yamato is bleeding from the head, even though her ice mirror was there in place to that she used her ice mirror to try and block Kaido's Raime Hake, but she's bleeding because it didn't exactly 100% protect her. And then it shows Yamato on the back of Momonosuke flying around, Kaido trying to kill Momonosuke, and he's blocked by Luffy. He's blocked by Yamato, and then Luffy wraps his legs around his neck and then pulls him back. And then Yamato says, I know you want to take this one on yourself, don't you? And then Luffy's just smiling like Roger, saying, yeah. And then it shows Momonosuke falling through the air, And that's when he learns to start flying with the flame clouds. Because all this time he was just flying up in the air, but he wasn't using flame clouds to actually stay aloft. And it shows an outside view of the Onigashima starting to crumble, with Yamato coming to the realization that could it be that Kaido's power is weakening, and that's making the flame clouds unstable. Let me hold on. Let me move this page off to the side so I can see your comments while you're talking. Don't think Buggy has any kind of hockey? Buggy's kind of lazy. So that's the reason why he doesn't exactly fit the bill for that. Does Buggy have hockey? Not talking about Conquerors, just hockey in general? Doubtful. The will to submit and follow is what awakens or have the devil fruit respect you enough to have them awaken to you. It's an interesting way to put that. I'm just waiting on Vegapunk to explain what the heck they actually are and how is it they are able to give people superpowers. I'm just waiting on that moment for Vegapunk to just say that to us. But Onigashima is crumbling in this chapter, and Yamato comes up with the idea of Momonosuke coming up with flame clouds to push it back. Random thought, Kyushu should be on hot ones. He might even be able to make it to the last dab. Last dab is in dabbing into some sauce, because I don't do the whole put your head down and then hands up. I'm describing what it is because I'm not even going to do it as an example of why I don't do dabs. If you mean dabbing into some sauce, yeah, I'll dab myself some hot ones into some sauce. But I ain't going to dab. I don't dab. I do not dab. I will never dab. But Onigashima is crumbling, and Yamato comes up with the idea of having Momonosuke create his own flame clouds to push against Kaido's weakening clouds in order to keep Onigashima from crashing down on the Flower Capital. Because it's in this chapter where we learn that there's an incredible stockpile of weapons within the island and explosives. Onigashima might as well be a giant bomb. At this distance, there's no way the civilians can evacuate in time. So what's going on? Buggy has the fourth kind, the color of shenanigans. Buggy is the supreme master of color of shenanigans. It's crazy that Law and Kid are even talking about awakening their fruits. Yeah, it really is. They're just driving this as they're fighting. Well, actually, you know what? It is a good example of they're fighting a Yonko. So them not awakening their devil fruits at some point, or maybe they did it before, or maybe they did it while this fight was going on. But fighting a Yonko is a good way to give your devil fruit a workout. But Yamato says that if Onigashima falls, it's going to kill everybody. Everybody on the Flower Capital, everybody. Yeah, it's going to kill everybody. Everybody on Onigashima and everybody in the Flower Capital. Everyone is going to die if Onigashima falls. It's just a massive nuke just waiting to go off. So, then Yamato says, you want to stop, and then, thought I just spoiled you? Spoiled me on what? I didn't even see what you just said. Well, good. But, Momonosuke is thinking, well, maybe we should tell Luffy that, sorry if it seems like there's a lot of spaces in between what I'm saying and everything. I'm just looking at chat and looking at the pages. My apologies if it seems a little bit disorganized. They probably awakened it the first time on Sabaody. Or noticed it. Possibly. Maybe. Or maybe they did it during the 2-year time skip where they basically got enormously stronger. Here's one thing, though. One thing that I never really thought about until right now. If Law using his room is stamina consuming, the bigger the room he makes. Even creating a room that Doflamingo couldn't see from the inside. Remember back on Punk Hazard when he sliced through Virgo? And also sliced through a giant portion of a mountain? That didn't seem to have him extremely tired. So I'm just thinking back to That was the biggest we've ever seen Law ever use a room before. Even bigger than the one that he created on Dressrosa. So how come it wasn't Stamina, Kid, and Law awakening their abilities? I thought I spoiled you on that. No, we found out during this chapter. Karma, don't worry about it. Oh wait, you're just now showing up. Oh dang, Karma, you late. Oh, Karma, you late. You came in and you thought you spoiled me? No, don't worry about it. We found out. We found out already. Both Law and Kid have awakened devil fruits now. Law is able to use his rune to stab through anything, and Kid is able to turn anything into its own Chibaku Tensei. So, kind of a unique thing for them both. But going back to this chapter, we need to continue, and we need to wrap this up because I still have My Hero Academia after this, and then the newest One Piece chapter after that. And I might play some games later. I'll upload the rest, some more of my Guardians of the Galaxy playthrough that I'm already done with the game. It's good. It's phenomenal. I highly suggest to any Marvel fan or any gamer in general, just play it because it's good. It's very good. But might do a little stream later because of Halloween. But Momonosuke says, maybe we should stop Luffy, and he gets bonked on the head by Yamato saying, you want to stop the man putting everything on his back and standing in the line of danger for everyone? No one but Luffy can beat Kaido. We can't tell him about this. We have to get through this danger without anyone finding out. So as this is going on, King is ripping through buildings as he's fighting Zoro. And then we come to find out that Zoro actually managed to mess up King's mask, and it shows King going up against Zoro with using moves like Imperial Archer, and Zoro using Three Sword style Ultra Tiger Hunt, and they both clash with one another, and Zoro gets thrown outside. Maybe Law should have used poison instead of anesthesia. Well, with poison, you can feel it in your body, but anesthesia makes it so that you can't feel it. So, I mean, plus, he's a doctor. Doctors, well, good doctors anyway, don't really deal in poison. That kind of goes against his whole doctor operating room motif. If poison is a move if were to call any of his moves. All of his moves are doctor and hospital and operating room related moves. So poison kind of does not fit with his whole motif. But Zoro's knocked outside, and he sees that he's starting to plummet, and then he's knocked outside, and then King comes in and knocks him back even further. And Zoro, seeing that he's falling, uses a two-sword style clear lance, which causes a shockwave to come out, a shockwave slash that repels him in the opposite direction and lands. He's also a pirate. True, he's a pirate, but he's also a doctor. And it goes against his doctor theme. So poison just wouldn't fit. Zoro lands next to King. Surgeon of Death, remember? Yes, Surgeon of Death. He's a surgeon first. Still, doctor theme. Poison does not fit with doctors. Anesthesia does. So, I'm sticking by what I said. Poison does just not. Wait, did they already awaken? Okay, Karma. So we already went through the chapter. We'll go back through it again. But apparently, Law and Kid were talking to each other in today's chapter before they started clashing with Big Mom Moore. And Law says that, yeah, I've awakened it, but I don't really use it much because the stamina usage is so extreme. So I only use it if I'm on my last legs. And then Kid says, yeah, the same for me as well. Now, when I read through that, I'll save that for when we go through that chapter. I'll save what I'm about to say for when we go through that chapter. Zoro lands next to King, saying, that was close. At least let me die by the sword. Show a little respect. And then King, as it shows a part of his mask destroyed, and we see his hair, we see his skin, saying, I asked the same of you. And that's chapter 1027. And it's not even going to let me go to 28, so you're going to let me be difficult. Okay. So we go to chapter 1028. Chapter Brachios Snakeus, and it shows CP0 talking to Rob Lucci, who is relaying information to them saying that the nation of Wano, unaffiliated with the world government, will be placed under the government's direct control on the off chance that Kaido actually loses. And it already shows Marine warships coming in from a distance as they make their way towards Wano. And then it shows Rob Lucci saying, "I'll wait for your report," and there's one more order about a member of the Straw Hat crew. Bring back Nico Robin. And that just starts up a whole theories and a whole bunch of conversations of Enies Lobby Part 2. Because CP0, well, Cypherpole is just not giving up on trying to get their hands on Nico Robin at all. You think Enies Lobby was the end of it? No, they still want to get their hands on her, even after all this time. So, and it shows Stussy there, while Kaku is there as well. He's just chilling, sleeping. And it shows Brook running with Robin. Then it cuts to Momonosuke trying to figure out how to summon flame clouds in his hands as he tries to stop Onigashima from getting closer and closer to the Flower Capital. Shows Yamato climbing outside of Onigashima, saying that she's going to go back inside of the Skull Dome in order to keep the damage to a minimum in the case of absolute disaster. And it shows her going in her full Divine Wolf form, running all the way through towards Onigashima on the side of the castle. And then it cuts to the performance floor inside of the dome where it shows Queen going up against Sanji. And Sanji is doing his best to fend himself off from Queen with all of his cybernetic enhancements and everything. And he's getting knocked around by Queen, but he's not really feeling the damage. And he's thinking to himself, yeah, something's definitely off with my body. We find out later at the end of this chapter. And Queen is not begging him, but he's egging him on to put on the suit, Vinsmoke. And Sanji, seeing as how he hates that name, is saying, "I told you not to call me that. You don't know the first thing about my family situation. Scratch that. They're not my family at all. I'm not wearing it." And it shows Queen shooting off more black coffee beams. And then Sanji hits him with Bien Kui grill shot. I think I may have called it Bien Cut. But Bien Kui grill shot, Diable Jamba Bien Kui grill shot, and he hits Queen directly in his stomach, knocking Queen backwards. And Queen goes into his full-on Zoran form, and we see him pull his body downwards and scrunch it up a little bit, and using his tail, propel his neck, spine, and tail out from his own body. And he basically becomes a Titan Boa. And he just shoots himself out of his own body. And everyone is completely shocked by seeing this because, first of all, how is he detaching the inner part of his body from his regular body? And his regular body, all 4 legs and whole body, is just sitting there on its own, just there with a big old empty space in the middle. And he wraps around Sanji and starts to crush him. And then he's saying, even masters of color of armament hockey can't prevent broken bones and ruptured organs from this pressure. They all get taken out of commission. You're not putting up much of a fight, Judge's son, but if you promise to show me the power of Germa, I could give you a little breather. And then Sanji, not reciprocating, just says never. And then Queen says, just look at that. For a normal Brachiosaurus, that leftover material would be as useless as legs on a snake, but I am a scientist. Letting us know that Queen has experimented on his body so much that he's able to detach himself from his main body and continue functioning as if nothing ever happened. It's weird, but it kind of fits with Queen if he's able to turn his ponytail into a giant clawed appendage that can also shoot lasers. Nothing makes sense. At all. Ever. And I just left my window. Had to bring it back up here. My apologies, everyone. Gotta bring the live stream back up. Hopefully Raizo will finish this fight with Fukudo Kuju and help Brook protect Robin from CP0, considering they're all on the 3rd floor. That's no coincidence. We'll have to see. But going forward, it shows that Queen has installed rocket launchers into his very own body, saying, so I equipped Brachio launchers on my torso. If I call out their name, they'll shoot right at, and due to Queen not being, he's a genius, but he's a dumb genius. By saying what he equipped on his torso, which are voice activated, by saying their exact name, he's fired on himself. You're a genius, but you're a dumb genius. So I equipped Brachio launchers on my torso. If I call out their name, they'll shoot right at, and before he even finishes the sentence, these rocket launchers fire directly at him. And he says, "No, I was only explaining. You idiot, you're only supposed to shoot when I call out Brachio launchers and like an attack." And then before he ever says that, before he even finishes that sentence, the launchers hit him again. And I didn't notice, but that looks like a little bit of blood that came out of Queen because he got hit from these rocket launchers. Queen, the dumbest scientist I've seen, one of the dumbest scientists I've seen in One Piece. Caesar's a close second. But he gets fired on by his own Brachio launchers because he keeps calling out their name. And it's like, slowly I turned, and then the person keeps saying the name of Martha, knowing that the person is going to beat them up every time they do the slowly I turn bit. Never reveal all of your cards. Oh, we'll get to that. In speaking of cards, we'll get to that as soon as we're done with this chapter because we're right here at the end. Sanji is released from the grip of Queen. His body's all crooked, his legs all broken in different places, but then his body starts to snap directly back into place. And then Sanji's very worst fears for himself are fully realized, letting us know that Sanji is superhuman like his siblings. If that wasn't already apparent by the crazy things that he's been able to do in the past, Sanji is superhuman just like his own siblings. See, here's the thing. I finally understand why King is always frustrated with Queen. Yeah, because Queen is an idiot. He's a smart idiot. He's a very, very smart idiot. And they like to bag on Jack all the time, but at least Jack didn't do anything stupid. Sure, he ain't got no character development, but at least he ain't dumb. But Sanji's worst fears are realized. He realizes he's superhuman like his siblings, and he's all like, I don't want to be a monster like them. And this is directly after Queen tries to take his giant broadsword and try and cut off Sanji's head, which does absolutely nothing to Sanji except dent in his cheek and get a small ow from Sanji. So his body has already started to become more superhuman by the very second after wearing the raid suit all those 2 times. Well, those 3 times, actually. Those 3 times. No, I think it was 2 times. The first time is when he became Osoba Mask, and he stayed invisible when he went inside of that bathhouse, and he stayed hidden that whole time. Then the second time is when he put it back on to save Momonosuke. It got dark in my room all of a sudden. Dang it! Hold on. I gotta fix this because it's cloudy outside and it's gonna mess up with my lighting. I gotta fix this right now. I'll be right back. Ain't that some mess? As soon as I go out to get a light to make sure that nothing happens, just in case the lighting goes out, it decides, you know what? We're going to make it all nice and bright when you come back. I ain't no fool. You ain't going to fool me. But going back to it, it pretty much ends chapter 1028 with Sanji getting slapped in the face by Queen, but the sword breaks on his skin. Let me pull this back up. And Queen is all like, what? And Sanji's just bothered by the fact that he could possibly turn out like his siblings, and he doesn't like it. But that's the end of chapter 1028. Onwards to chapter 1029. Pardon me. Chapter 1029, The Tower. And it shows Queen's sword falling to the ground. Sanji's pulling his cheek back. King to Queen from chapter 990 on the samurai invasion. Don't worry, I'm not going to blame you. You were worthless from the start. Pretty much, it shows Sanji pulling his cheek back into place. And he's recounting how he remembers what Judge said once, saying, I can give the human body an exoskeleton. I can give it abnormal regeneration. I can give it great physical strength, and most of all, an unfeeling heart of ice. So in this moment, he thinks of his siblings who are all unfeeling, and he immediately imagines, no, I don't want to turn out like those heartless monsters, and he immediately starts running away. Now, a lot of people, including some of my viewers here, didn't like the fact that Sanji was running away. But you gotta understand that Sanji has spent his entire life, back when he was born and then a child, he was pressured to be exactly how Judge wanted him to be. And when they kept finding out that Sanji supposedly didn't have any superhuman abilities, he was basically labeled a failure in everyone's eyes, ridiculed by his three brothers, beaten up by his three brothers, and then even was imprisoned deep within the Germa castle where no one could ever see him, where his father gave a funeral of his own volition in order for the world to forget that he ever had a son named Sanji, due to the fact that Sanji did not turn out like Ichi, Niji, and Yonji. So growing up, he's had to endure an entire childhood of having to deal with these superhuman siblings and these expectations from Judge to be superhuman but also be heartless, especially when his mother Sora was doing everything she could to try and keep her children from being that way, and in the process lost her life in an attempt for her children to be normal human beings. And the relationship between his mom, who wanted nothing but the best for him to be human and for him to enjoy himself, Judge was always looking for his children to be exactly what he wanted them to be, soulless, heartless machines that can fight on his behalf and for the benefit of Germa. So Sanji running away at the prospect that, oh no, I'm getting all these superpowers. Does that mean I'm going to become heartless? Am I going to become like Ichiri, Niji, and Yonji? Because he knows how Reiju is. Reiju is the exception. She has all the superhuman abilities, but she still has human emotions as well. That's why Reiju and Sanji are able to get along so well. But Sanji's running away because all of this is exactly what he's been trying to avoid all his life. The heartache and the pain and suffering he had to suffer under his father and all the scientists of Germa wanting him to be superhuman, that's coming back. It's all linked to his childhood, so this is childhood trauma. Just found out 1031 comes out next Monday, not Sunday. Interesting. If it doesn't come out on Monday, then that's perfectly fine with me. I'll just set it up then. But Sanji running away makes sense to me, because in his headspace, this is something that he has never quite thought could be possible for him. And this affects him. Seeing stuff happen to people, sure, that can be shocking, but it's happening to him, making him like the very people he despises above all else. So of course he's not going to be in his right mind. And of course he's going to run away to try and think things through and find out why his body is doing this now of all times. turning him into the very thing he hates. So him running away, completely understand. As this is going on, Queen is chasing after him. Shonen Jump says next chapter is in 8 days. Yeah, it said the same for me because, I read from, Shonen Jump here. Well, Viz is where Shonen Jump, I read from the official Viz site, and it says 8 days for me as well. So maybe, if I go here, if I pull up the full chapter list right here, yeah, 8 days. So it possibly means that it's going to be coming out on Monday instead of the usual days. So while this is going on, Sanji is running away, and the Beast Pirates try to shoot at him, but Sanji's body has fully become bulletproof, and the bullets do nothing as Queen chases after him. Then we cut to the second floor of the castle, where Big Mom is preparing to cut down both Law and Kid is having major migraines right now, as we find out that major migraines as Kid keeps having these major headaches, and Law uses Shambles, uses Countershock. It does nothing to Big Mom, and Prometheus comes up and uses Stolen Fire against him. I can understand Sanji's perspective, but still, it looks bad to abandon his comrades with Queen. However, it's okay now since he's still fighting Queen in that awesome Monster Trio page. Right, he's back to fighting Queen again. So he had to get his mind back together. He had to take a breather because that's just a very shocking thing to happen to him in that moment, in the heat of battle. So he had to just kind of, get his thoughts together. But in the next chapter, he's, back to fighting Queen again. So apparently he's, back to where he was before he found out that he started to turn superhuman. And now I hope that means that he might actually start embracing these new powers that he has and fighting against Queen. Because Queen still thinks that he's going to turn into a heartless individual, but he doesn't count on Sanji's actual heart and humanity. That's what makes Sanji Sanji. But here, Law still distracting Big Mom so Kid can get up, but he gets hit by Stolen Fire by Prometheus, and he falls to the ground. Big Mom, maybe Queen convinced him to fight? Have someone hostage? Doubtful, because we don't see any of the other Straw Hats captive at the moment, or any of the Minks or Carrot or Wanda. Carrot and Wanda are with Nekomamushi right now, as far as we know from the last chapter. But Big Mom is here, and she flips in the air and tries to use a move called Mama Raid. Now, here's one thing. I never looked up what this move actually is. I had originally thought that it was just her using the Lightning of Hera. Her using the Lightning of Hera as she did this massive flip in the air with Napoleon. So if I go here and I go to Napoleon and go to his moves, we'll find out what Mama Raid is actually called. Okay, so we have Mama Raid. So it's actually called Marma Raid, but in the Viz translation, it's called Mama Raid. So it's actually supposed to be a play on words of marmalade, and it's called Marma Raid. But in the Viz translation, it's called Mama Raid. I would have actually liked that it was called Marma Raid. But Mama Raid kind of fits with Big Mom. But Big Mom infuses Napoleon with Hera and jumps in the air. So I was confirmed. I was right when I called this, when I read through this chapter. She actually does infuse Napoleon with Hera's lightning and jumps into the air, spinning forward vertically while holding the blade before striking the target downwards with a lightning-powered slash. So yeah, I was pretty much right. I'll kill Chopper if you don't fight me or something like that. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that was a thing. But Big Mom uses Mama Raid, and she comes crashing down near where Kid and Law actually are. And I guess from the impact, both Law and Kid are just laying down in front of Big Mom, and she's just grinning with a crazed look in her face. And Kid gets up saying, what's happening? What's going on with all these headaches? And we find out on the third floor, as we continue the battle between Killer and Hawkins, is that Hawkins has just been busting his head on anything that he can come across. He's just been busting his head on this pillar over and over and over again. And since at this point in these panels, his life is still tethered to kids, he can do all of this ridiculous crap. And it's not harming him. So he can just bust his head on like a metal beam and he won't feel it at all, but Kid will. And Killer is just down on the ground asking Hawkins to stop. Now, some people have said that why is Killer asking Hawkins to stop? Why isn't he trying to fight him? But Killer is in a position where he can't risk Hawkins trying to do anything even more serious to himself, because then that'll just be more injuries for Kid. So he's really trying to rely on his words right now, because he can't really physically retaliate against Hawkins, because then it will happen to Kid. And he's trying to talk Hawkins down from doing anything else stupid, because that's going to reciprocate onto Kid. So he's just trying to use his words as best he can to keep Hawkins, I guess, talking, rather than him trying to do stuff to himself, which will then happen to Kid. Now, later in this chapter, Killer figures out Hawkins' entire trick. But Killer says, "Stop it, Hawkins." And Hawkins says, "Just stop. I can't believe you ate a smile fruit. You couldn't possibly be more miserably misfortunate, Killer. How come we're..." And then the crewmates of Kid's entire crew are all just around watching. And they're just wondering, how come Killer isn't doing anything? Not realizing that Basil Hawkins' life is tethered to Kid's. And Killer can't really do anything at all. And Killer's telling them all, just shut up and stay put. And then everyone else is all like, then why don't you fight, sir? It's so frustrating to watch. The fire is creeping closer. We need to be getting out of here. Because the whole area is still on fire, mind you. All this fighting is going on, and Onigashima is still on fire. And Killer gets up with his mask cracked on one side, saying, "I ask you, release Kid. You can have my life in exchange." And then Hawkins just goes on this very long tirade, like a very long tirade, saying, "Kid is fighting with Big Mom right now, I gather. Will he succeed at his dream of hunting down an Emperor of the Sea? It's good to set your sights high. If I'm preventing you from succeeding, then cut me down with those scythes. Or surrender if you'd prefer. I'll put in a good word for you with Kaido. Either way, you still have no chance at all of winning this battle. You've seen the simple facts for yourself. Now you know why they've ruled over this sea for so long. You must have felt it in your core biological instincts. There is no way to beat them." So even Hawkins just admits, like, there's no way I could ever win against these individuals, so I'm not even going to try myself. Don't get emotional now. Besides, I know that deep down you regret the decision you made back then, don't you? Because you fear dying in this future. Oh no, this is Killer saying it. You don't get all emotional now. Besides, I know that deep down you regret the decision you made back then, don't you? Because you fear dying in this future, and here we are still standing. And then Hawkins draws his sword saying, well, we'll see who's regretting it in the end. And that's when Killer starts to get really, really smart in this chapter, and he asks Hawkins, that's better. Much better light. Killer gets really, really smart and asks 2 questions of Hawkins, saying, gotta sink or swim one way or the other. I have 2 questions for you. If you take damage without a proper conduit, where does that damage go? And then Hawkins is all like, what do you mean? You should know how my powers work by now. All of the damage I take goes straight to Kid as long as I hold his straw doll within my body. And before Hawkins can do anything, in the blink of an eye, Killer slices off the arm that has the doll in it completely through. Now, mind you, had this not been the space where Hawkins kept the doll, the cut would not have taken his arm off at all. That would have taken the arm off of whoever was linked to him. But since Kid has a metallic left arm, where Killer sliced off of didn't have anywhere to put that damage, so that damage just stuck with Hawkins, and in the process caused him to lose his left arm in an instant. And Hawkins just looks as his left arm just falls to the ground and he starts screaming out, wondering, how did you do that? How did you cut off my arm? The damage should have gone to... And that's when Killer drops the knowledge that Kid has a metallic left arm. He has no real left arm. So if I were to cut off your left arm, it wouldn't do anything to Kid because he doesn't have anything right there. And then Killer says, second question. Once I take this one out, how many lives are protecting your own? And it shows Killer dragging the doll out from that arm. And Hawkins says, congratulations, that's the last one. Now, we get a new move from Hawkins, which I'm going to go ahead and look up here. Now, if they could pull it up, hold on. Hawkins, because there's some aspects of his ability. Wada Wada no Mi, there it is. I don't know why I kept calling it a Mugi Mugi no Mi. It's a Wada Wada no Mi. So, from what we know of the ability of Basil Hawkins, just going to do like a short synopsis here, is the fruit's main ability is the capacity to create and manipulate straw, which seems to have a broad variety of applications. At its most basic, the straw can serve as a holding device, as well as act as sharp weapon. Act as sharp weapon or act as a sharp weapon. By producing a larger amount of straw, the user can cover themselves in it to enhance their fighting capabilities, or create a large straw monster with which to attack their foes. When using these techniques, the user is also seemingly able to manifest nails and use them as accompanying weapons. As a more advanced technique, it doesn't say awakened, but advanced technique, the user is also capable of creating small straw dolls and storing them inside their body. Each doll, through unknown means, can be linked to and represents another person akin to a voodoo doll. Consequently, if the user is injured in any way, the damage is instead transferred to a given doll and in turn whichever person it represents. This allows the user to easily survive and recover from multiple life-threatening injuries if they have enough dolls in store, making them difficult to defeat. It was also shown that the effects that do not directly hurt or injure the user, such as the effects of the Ope Ope no Mi, can be transferred to other people as well. Watching my Resident Evil 4 video, Lost in Game. Wow, I haven't done a Resident Evil 4 since I hit, I want to say 100 subscribers or maybe 500 subscribers. That was years ago, Buttered Michael. That was years ago. But continuing with this, it was also shown that the effects that do not directly hurt or injure the user, such as the effects of the Ope Ope no Mi, can be transferred to other people as well. While the exact process is unclear, the user is capable of specifically choosing which person a straw doll is tied to. Thus, the user is capable of gaining a massive advantage in battle if they manage to connect their dolls to their opponent's allies, rendering the opponent unable to harm them without first killing one or more comrades. That's where the whole psychological aspect of this whole ability comes into play. The user can further take advantage of tying an enemy's body to a doll by inflicting harm on themselves. In regard to the straw doll technique, the user can only carry a maximum of 10 dolls in their body, and each doll can only be used once, leaving the user vulnerable to taking damage once every doll is used. If a doll is removed from the user's body, it will lose its link to the user. Moreover, if the person the doll represents suffers damage through other means, the doll is damaged too, leaving it unusable. Rapid consecutive attacks in particular can swiftly deplete Hawkins his supply of straw men, as Kizaru proved. Additionally, if damage inflicted on the fruit user cannot be applied to the person the doll is connected to, the damage will not transfer and the user will be wounded. This was shown when Killer severed Hawkins' left arm while Hawkins was transferring damage to Eustace Kid, with the damage not transferring due to Kid not having a left arm. The straw created by the fruit's power does not appear to be very durable, as Roronoa Zoro can easily slice through it. Aside from creating openings in their body to release the straw dolls, the user is incapable of turning into straw like a Logia, and thus cannot make attacks pass through them. Other than that, it has standard devil fruit weaknesses. So much for me trying to keep the synopsis short. I just read through that whole thing. So if we go down to the bottom, the move called Straw Man's Card. This is a move that he uses at the last minute to try and get a one-up on Killer. Straw Man's Card, Death Upright. So what Strawman's card actually is by generating a large amount of straw from his sword, Hawkins creates a large straw monster that resembles his Go Mano So. His demon face technique. Once the entity detaches itself from his sword, Hawkins is able to remotely control it at will, with the straw man mimicking his movements. The straw man wields a variety of weapons, including a large spiked-covered club, which it can swing with enormous strength, enough to make the superhumanly strong Zoro struggle to hold it back, and can also spit nails at its targets. However, the straw man's behavior is seemingly governed by which tarot card Hawkins draws, which do not always have advantageous results. However, according to Hawkins, drawing bad cards tends to give better results for later draws. The cards have effects on his giant straw monsters, those linked to him via straw dolls and his targets. Since the straw man is linked to Hawkins' body, damaging it will also damage Hawkins himself, although he can still use his straw dolls to transfer the damage to someone else. Injure his straw man while he has dolls, it's not going to harm him. This technique was first used during Hawkins' battle with Zoro and Luffy at Wano. In Viz manga, the technique is called Strawman cards. So we have a list of the cards. First is the Fool reversed. The card of light in fighting causes those linked to Hawkins to fight each other. The Hierophant reversed. The card of pursuit prompts the straw monster to pursue its targets. The Hierophant indicates that his target will escape with someone's help. Death Upright, the card of destruction, prompts the straw monster to strike its target with a scythe. And then lastly, the Tower. The card symbolizing the collapse of the old with a hidden meaning of a new path forward. It is unknown what effect this card entails on the straw monster, if any, since Hawkins was defeated by Killer before it could manifest again. So, when Hawkins drew his Death Upright, he caused his giant straw man to take a giant scythe and try and kill Killer. But Killer beheads the straw man with beheading claws and cuts the head off completely. And Killer jumps on the back of the straw man and launches towards Hawkins. And before Hawkins can do anything, he says the straw man will not perish. It will come back to life as the cards dictate. Show me the ending of this fight. And he draws the Tower card. And he is unable to retaliate as Killer uses a move called Spin and Sonic. And you know what? Let me go ahead and let me pull up Killer as well, because he has a move, Spin and Sonic, I don't think we've seen. Killer. Where is Killer? Let me pull up Killer. Well, dang, you're not even going to let me pull up his page. Hold on. We're going to do this right. Kid Pirates. And Killer, go to his moves. I cover a lot of this when it comes to my reflections, so this might be a little bit long. We only have one more chapter after this, and then I'll go ahead and bring it to a close. Okay, weapons. Punishers. His weapons are called Punishers. Those are his scythes. So if we go down to his moves, we have Beheading Claws. We already know what this is. Killer rushes towards a target and slashes them around their neck while his Punishers are spinning with the intent of decapitating them. He decapitates the straw man with this move. It was first used against Kaido, but had little to no effect. Its first successful use was demonstrated later by Basil Hawkins' Strawman card entity, destroying it in an instant, a feat not even Zoro was able to perform. So let that sink in. Killer was able to behead the straw man that Zoro couldn't even do. So that lets you know, I mean, I'm not saying that Killer is stronger than Zoro. I'm just saying that Killer is very strong. So we have another move called Jin Sonic. Jin Sonic, literally meaning blade sound beating. Killer rushes towards his target and slices them vertically through their face and torso while performing a somersault. It was first used against Hawkins as a finishing move. The name of the attack is likely a pun on the cocktail Gin Tonic. In the Viz translation, this is called Spin and Sonic. A gin and tonic with that Spin and Sonic. So that's the name of that move. And we already know about the Scyther Sonic, which is a move he used against Kaido. Killer spins the sickles on his Punishers at the speed of sound, seemingly creating a shockwave slash that bypasses external defenses and damages his opponent from the inside. It also creates an illusion that the sickles have increased in size and slicing through the opponent. It was first used against the nigh-invincible Kaido, successfully damaging him. So we've seen these moves before. So Killer uses a new move called Spin, and Sonic and slices directly through the face. Not up his face, through the face. Now imagine you have these spinning scythes and you slice through someone's face. He's going to have like a scar that's akin to that of Gekko Moria when all is said and done. He slices through Hawkins and defeats Hawkins. And when that's done, Kid realizes what's going on. He's not having any headaches. He's not feeling any pain. And he stands up with a smile on his face with Killer saying, "Get going, partner." And that's the end of chapter 1029. Today's chapter, 1030. How long have I gone for? An hour and 25 minutes? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I'm actually making good time. Chapter 1030, echoing the impermanence of all things. It shows Apu speaking to Drake, and he's just chilling with some numbers. The numbers are just eating and drinking, and they're all inside of a cave chamber by themselves, just chilling. So, and Apu figures out that Drake is a Navy spy. That doesn't matter at this point. The thing that matters now is whether you want to take out Kaido or not. By the time the dust settles on this battle, the winner will be at death's door, whoever it is. Finishing them off is going to be a piece of cake. So, Apu is no longer fighting on the side of the Beast Pirates anymore. He's just chilling with the numbers, just eating and drinking. Just chilling, not taking part in the fighting. He's just waiting for all the dust to settle. Looking for the opportunity to kill whoever is, pretty much kill which one ever loses, either Kaido or Luffy when all is said and done. And he's chilling with numbers Inbi, Fuga, and Zanki. And he's chilling, asking Drake, "What do you think? Want to join with us and seize it all at the very end?" So Apu has already come up with his own plan to just try and take what's left after all is said and done, once everyone or whoever loses is dead. You know, trying to pick up the pieces like the little vulture that he is. We're not aligned with anyone here. Why would we fight each other? And Drake has said, "I've heard enough. What makes you think I would trust you in any way?" And Apu says, "Let's not get into an argument about who's more trustworthy. I'm bringing this up because I think it would benefit us both." And all of the numbers just glare really evil-like as Apu is saying, "You'll never get an opportunity like this again." And then that's the end we see of what's going on between Apu and Drake. It looks like they're not really fighting right now. They're just it's mostly Apu who's talking these things out right now. Then it cuts to inside the castle, first and second floor stairs as dang it, I forgot his name. Hamlet, that's his name. Now we know why Diaz, Drake, and Apu weren't seen since 1006, been having a mini banquet. Yeah, Apu has just been chilling. He's just been chilling, eating and drinking with some numbers. Just waiting for everything to settle so he can take what's left. Dude's just been eating as people have been dying. As people have been awakened, conquerors, Haki abused attacks. As people have just been so much chaos and destruction that's been going on right now. And Apu's just sitting and drinking, just chilling. Just chilling. But we got Hamlet and Daifugo carrying Kumachio because he's still injured after, Ulti kind of ruptured his side a little bit. Lady Speed is there, as is Gazelle Man, Nami, and Usopp as they're running through through these floors, going down the stairs. Then we hear people crying out about a monster, and it turns out it's Kinemon's legs. Kinemon's legs are just running around. But they're separated from his body, as if Law cut him, but Law hasn't cut him. His body is bleeding from the top, and as Usopp tries to grab onto him, the legs are farting out the words, "Who's there?" or "Pooh's there?" "Whoever you are, save me. I am Kinemon. I am searching for my friends." I guess you can't make the letter F with your butt cheeks, so I guess that's the reason why it's going for, reason why he goes from P to it's very hard to use why am I saying this like I know? I don't know! But he's talking with his farts. And he's saying and he's running through there saying he's searching for his friends. And Usopp is there, but he notices there's so much blood coming off of him. So Usopp takes Hamlet to go and find out where Kinemon is. And it shows that Kinemon is still kind of conscious. Here's the thing. It gives Kinemon like an inner monologue to speak. So he's still kind of conscious, but it also gives Kiku a speech bubble of their own. How is Kinemon still alive? I don't know. The theory that's presented itself, and I believe it was Katos who brought it up, was on the theory that Kinemon was put together by the Straw Hats. He was not put together and brought back together by Law. Law didn't put Kinemon's bodies back together. The Straw Hats found the pieces of Kinemon and stuck it back there. So Kinemon's thinking, hold on a bit longer. Here's the thing about Kiku, though. Kiku has their own speech bubble, but it's just, ellipses, just the 3 dots there. So if Kiku was actually dead, they wouldn't give Kiku a speech bubble, but it's just silence coming from them. And Kinemon is thinking, hold on a bit longer, Kiku. I have found some of our allies. It is hard to believe that I still live with my torso severed. And he knows that it's the Straw Hats because Nami draws the sign of the crescent moon on Kinemon's leg so that Kinemon knows that, hey, it's an ally who's around me right now. Because, Kinemon can't see through his legs. He can only tell by touch and everything. After Sir Law cut me in 2, perhaps I was never properly attached again. It is a miracle if I can use this to save Kiku's life, if nothing else. And then someone's calling on a Den Mushi, and it's Orochi calling for Kanjuro. And Kanjuro is still relatively alive. And Orochi goes on this big old tirade, like, let's go ahead and make this your final performance. Let's bring the revenge of the Kurozumi clan to a close, like right here. But alas, how galling, how vexing. Our ancestors await a proper theatrical encore, and you must give it to them, Kanjuro. Depict the burning hatred of the Kurozumi clan. Who is the true victor? The enduring anger of the Kurozumis prowls the halls of this castle, heading deeper and deeper into the depths until at the very bottom of it all you reach our burial crypt. Only you can lay our souls to rest, Kanjuro. And Kanjuro draws up this big creature, which I now am going to pull up on his side because I'm pretty sure they have it on what this creature actually is. So let me bring up his Devil Fruit ability, the Fude no Mi. And if I go down to the bottom, Kanzenbo. He draws a creature called Kanzenbo. So what it is Kanzenbo. Kanjuro creates a ghost-like monster wreathed in flame. The creature is several times larger than regular humans and takes the shape of a blob with 2 glowing eyes, like a umibozu. It is capable of passing through walls and sets everything it touches on fire. Kanjuro created it as his final performance to symbolize the burning hatred of the Kurozumi family. In Japanese mythology, a Kanzenbo is a yokai in the form of a burning monk. So Kanjuro pretty much creates what I would like to assume is his final drawing and just sets it off into Onigashima, just setting everything on fire. Now, mind you, the castle is already on fire. Hold on, I gotta take a sip. The castle is already on fire. So Kanjuro is just causing it to become even more on fire. Gotta keep yourself hydrated when you're talking a lot. I learned that when I started my My Hero Academia read-throughs way back when. But he's setting everything on fire with Kanzenbo. And that's going on, and everyone's reporting about this freakish, flaming creature that's just passing through walls and setting fire to more of Onigashima, on top of the present fire that's already there. And then it cuts to Momonosuke trying his best to create more flame clouds as he's working towards trying to get them to gather around Onigashima. Then it cuts to the smiling faces of people enjoying themselves of the fire festival in the flower capital. It cuts to Brooke and Robin running through the area. It cuts to some minks fighting off some beast pirates in the background as the whole place is on fire. It cuts to CP0 standing up. Kanjuro send Kanzenbo to burn the armory. Yeah, I know. I was just saying he's pretty much just going through the entire castle to set it on fire. I know. I already know Cohaagen. I read through the chapter, Cohaagen. I read through the chapter. I know. But Brooke and Robin are here with the minks as the minks are fighting off against some beast pirates. CP0, the CP0 members who are there on Onigashima, are standing. So it appears that they're making their way through the castle as well. It shows Marco. It shows Izo fighting against what appears to be just like a regular beast pirate. It shows Kawamatsu. It shows King fighting against Zoro. It shows Queen fighting against Sanji. So apparently Sanji's gotten over whatever traumatic feeling he was having over himself. It shows Luffy with a little bit of armament hockey on his hand. And it shows Kaido apparently having tried to hit Luffy with his bolo breath because his mouth is smoking in this panel. With Orochi saying, allies of Kozuki, emperors of the sea, all who put on airs will be brought low. Don't think I don't know, Kaido. You got that huge armory beneath the castle. All those weapons I had you create. Go and light them all up, Kanjuro. You see, Cohaagen, if you hadn't tried to remind me of what I already know of him sending the Kanzenbo down to the armory, me recounting of Orochi saying it in the very next page would have resolved that already. Let me handle this. I got this. Don't worry about it. Go and light them all up, Kanjuro. Blow it all to Kingdom Come. And where are you, Fukurokuju? Get here so we can escape. This pirate war does not concern us. And it shows Yamato running past some beast pirates in her divine wolf form. And as she's making her way towards it, a massive blast comes out of the side of the building that she's running towards. And it's Ikoku Sovereignty, which we all know is a move that Big Mom uses. And it shows Kid's Punk Gibson mech flying outside as Yamato sees this. Cohaagen, you're fine. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. It's good. You're good. You didn't do anything wrong. Big Mom is riding on top of Prometheus. I'm not, you know, it's fine. It's fine. Don't even worry about it. It's not that serious. I'm not going to hold that against you. Come on, man. You know me. But Big Mom is riding on Prometheus. And she's laughing, saying, let's start with the first one then. And she's aiming at Kid. And this is where we get a flashback to when Kid was talking to Law, saying, I'm still, hey, have your powers awakened? Which is pretty much confirming to us that Kid and Law have awakened devil fruits. And Law says, I'm still not used to it. I'll do it if I'm on my last legs. But the stamina consumption is extreme and it ensures I'll lose the battle. And Kid says, same's true for me. Relax, I was joking. It's all good, Kid. I know, Cohaagen. Same's true for me, but we're not getting anywhere like this. Use your last resort to back me up. And then Law pops up a room, but it's called Kroom. It's called Kroom, and then he says anesthesia. So this Kroom that he's created can he runs it through his sword, and it coats his sword. He coats his sword in an actual room. He coats his sword in an actual room and jumps up behind Big Mom and stabs through her completely. Now, the thing about the Kroom is, it's not meant to actually injure the person that it's stabbing into, but it allows it to pass through the person, both externally and internally. And while Big Mom has this giant sword sticking through her neck, Law says the penetration does nothing on its own. Instead, Kroom creates shockwaves from within. And then he uses a move called Shockwill that basically just bombards Big Mom with electricity from the inside, causing her to bleed. I wouldn't say it's the very first time, because we saw Big Mom bleed a little bit when she fell to her knees back on Whole Cake Island when the picture of Mother Caramel broke and she started screaming out and she fell to her knees and her knees got injured and there was a little bit of blood on her knees. That was the only time we saw her get injured, and that was just from her falling on her knees by herself. This is the first time we are seeing Big Mom get injured and bleed from an attack from someone else. This is the first time we're seeing this. Big Mom is the pinnacle example of a tank in the series of One Piece. The only person that rivals her in terms of durability is Kaido. But Kaido was injured and bleeding before we saw Big Mom, before we saw it happen to Big Mom. So Big Mom has held out as the tankiest person in One Piece longer than the invincible 100 Beast Kaido. Let that sink in for a second. Big Mom is more durable than Kaido. But here we see that durability and that nigh invincible durability, that whole streak, Law just broke that. So he uses Shock Will and just electrifies her entire body. Am I the only one that thinks this isn't their awakenings? But it is. It is. It is, Karma. It is their awakenings. The fact that Kid was able to bring this up, it has to be. Because other times when Law uses his room, it's always to create a room around himself or places. But he creates a room that can be infused into his weapon, allowing his whole displacement abilities of the rooms he creates to be applied to his sword. Now we don't necessarily know if Law is able to create this Kroom and do other things with it. We don't know that. We just see this Kroom being created to be infused into his sword, allowing him to just straight phase through people and then shock them from the inside. Nah, it isn't. Oh, you don't think so? Okay, Karma. But Law uses his awakened abilities. Yes, I said that specifically. Law uses his awakened abilities. He uses Shock Will on the inside of Big Mom and just electrifies her insides. And this causes her to cough up smoke. I think it's an unfinished awakening. How can it be an unfinished awakening? I mean, Law already said in the previous panel that he's still not used to it. I think I see what you mean. I think I see what you mean, Karma. It's not a full awakening yet. He's not fully used to it, so he hasn't fully mastered it for it to be called a full awakening. I mean, he technically has awakened his devil fruit, but since what if Kroom stands for Katana Room? I mean, it could. It could mean that. See, the way I think of it when it comes to an unfinished... Hold on, let me see if I can pull up the Ope Ope no Mi again. The way I see it, it's awakened, but Law hasn't used it often enough for it to be like something he can just easily use. Yeah, they got a full what they displayed this chapter wasn't the peak of their awakening, it's just the beginning of what they can do, I think. I think so as well. It's like Karma said, Kid asks Law if he can use it, and a couple of panels later, they just use it. It looks like it's a regular move. I mean, here's the description of Kroom. Law creates a spherical space above his hand that is very similar to Room, but unlike it, this space seemingly never expands. Instead, Law is capable of coating objects with this spatial bubble, granting them similar properties to that of a regular room. Law first used this move in his confrontation with Big Mom, considering it a last resort due to the high amount of energy this technique consumes to perform. And then with Anesthesia, Law coats his Kikoku with the essence of Room, allowing it to pierce through anything without harming the target, akin to spatial phasing. Law first used this against Big Mom. And then we have Shock Vial. Oh, so it's called Shock Vial. So it's called Shock Vial. Okay, it's called Shock Vial. literally meaning shockwave. After piercing through a target with Kikoku, Law releases an electrical shockwave through it that fries the target from the inside. This move is very similar to Gamma Knife, but because the electric shock directly occurs from the inside instead of coming from the outside, it ignores whatever external defenses the target may have. It was first used against Big Mom, bypassing her normally monstrous external body defenses and making her bleed from the mouth. What they displayed this chapter wasn't the peak of their awakening. It's just the beginning of what they can do, I think. Exactly. See, I wasn't speaking on the assumption that them having awakened abilities was just them having fully mastered it yet. I was going off the event that, hey, now we know that they have awakened abilities, but never on the pretense of saying that, oh, they've mastered it and this is exactly what they're doing. What they're doing right now is just a little bit of their awakening, because this is the first time we're seeing it. And both Kid and Law confirmed that it requires a lot of stamina in order for them to use these abilities. And Law says he only uses it as a last resort. So I can imagine, due to it being considered a last resort when it comes to these abilities, they don't use it all that often. Therefore, the reason why Law said, I'm still not used to it, because he's never been in a situation where he had to use it a whole bunch of times. So I agree with both Karma and Tom Ellis. Why am I trying to call you Thomas Elliott? Why am I trying to call you that? That sure, they may be awakened, but they haven't gone the full extent of their awakened capabilities quite yet. Hopefully Yamato freezes Kazenbo. Someone needs to cut down that nose-picking Orochi soon, like Denjiro. And have we seen Big Mom's awakened Devil Fruit power yet? If not, maybe in the next couple of chapters. We have never seen Big Mom use awakened abilities before. Ever. We've never seen it. At least it hasn't been confirmed that she's awakened at all. But we've never seen the awakened abilities of Big Mom at all. So let me continue going through this chapter. Law uses his awakened abilities to injure Big Mom, and then Kid uses his own awakened abilities, which allows him to turn basically whatever he wants into its own magnet. Just like I said multiple times, think Chibaku Tensei from One Piece, and he just causes people to be increasingly magnetic. But while Big Mom is still frying in the air, Kid touches her and says a sign, and then she immediately starts to become so magnetic that Napoleon gets stuck to her head, and then every weapon that the Beast Pirates are holding all get ripped from them, and even the support beams that were in the tower that they were in between starts to rip out, and they all just embed themselves onto Big Mom, and she's just buried under a small mountain of metal. Now, I already went through this when I did my reaction to the chapter, but Kid's awakened abilities, you see, this is the reason why One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 should have still kept supporting the game, because they could have added all these different attacks and stuff to it and added so much more characters. But no, let's just make a Pirate Warriors game because, you know, we want to, but not at the same time, not thinking about long-term support. We could have had Yamato that's playable. We could have had a Kaido in his hybrid form that's playable. We could have had more Marco. We could have had Luffy using Ryo and all this stuff. One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 has missed out on so much because they wanted to go the cash grab route. I'm just going to stop thinking about what was. Hopefully in the next Pirate Warriors game, they actually go that extra mile and just include everybody. I don't even know why they left out Gekko Moria and Kuma and Garp. How you gonna leave out people? Just keep everyone in. Don't remove people from a Musou game. Keep everyone in. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent here. But Kid's awakened abilities, one is called a sign, and the other one is called Punk Clash. A sign, Kid touches a foreign object or person and thereby turns them highly magnetic. First used against Big Mom, which caused Napoleon to be stuck to her head. Then he uses a move called Punk Clash. After magnetizing someone else with a sign, Kid greatly increases their level of attraction, causing them to draw countless pieces of metal from large distances towards them. When used against Big Mom, she was quickly buried underneath a mountain of metallic objects. The name of this technique may be inspired by the British punk rock band The Clash. So both Law and Kid both show off their awakened abilities. Now, mind you, since they said it's so stamina taxing, and since they rarely are put in situations where they need to use awakened abilities, they're pretty much, you might as well just count them as novices at awakening right now. Like the last time we've seen people who have awakened abilities, they've mastered it. Katakuri, he's mastered his awakened abilities, his awakened Mochi Mochi no Mi. Doflamingo definitely has mastered his awakened Ito Ito no Mi, but we have these novices to it. Law and Kid. They're aware that they have awakened abilities, but they are rarely put in a situation where they have to use it so much that they learn to master it. They're like first users of Super Saiyan 3, and they haven't gotten used to it yet. Tremendous power, but the stamina consumption is insane. That's pretty much how Law and Kid are with their abilities. But Big Mom is then buried underneath a whole heap of mountain of metal. Now, here's the thing. Big Mom is covered in metal, which means that her mobility is going to be even tougher. It's going to be even tougher for Big Mom to really move around. Now, mind you, I say this, yet we had an example where she was buried in a deep, deep hole after Nami manipulated Zeus and caused a giant thunder strike to come down and hit her, and then she just started walking out of the ground like Saitama did in the first season of One Punch Man. He just got out of the ground like the ground was nothing to him. It remains to be seen if Big Mom is permanently immobile. It remains to be seen. And that's pretty much the end of all 4 of these chapters. Whew. So, let's do a little bit of a recap of what's going on in Wano during the during the month of October. So, we have Momonosuke learning how to use flame clouds to fly, but he's still learning how to use flame clouds to push back Onigashima due to Kaido's flame clouds slowly but surely starting to weaken. We have Yamato making her way into Onigashima in order to find the storeroom to try and get rid of as many weapons and explosives as she can to mitigate the damage on the off chance that Onigashima actually does fall. Because as we know, Yamato says that with the enormous stockpile of weapons and explosives that's on Onigashima, if that drops, it's going to kill everyone on the in the Flower Capital and everyone in Onigashima as well, due to the massive amounts that they have there. Onigashima is basically a ticking time nuke. Not bomb, nuke that's waiting to just go off the moment Onigashima falls. Now, we have other moments where we have Sanji going up against Queen. We find out that Sanji is superhuman and slowly but surely becoming just as durable and as powerful as his siblings as well. That's still going on. We find out that Queen is just as weird as I always thought he was, and he's even weirder by being able to separate his whole body, his head and body, from his actual Brachiosaurus body. He's made so much modifications to his body that you can't even call him like a basic, even a regular ancient type Zoan. Onigashima is currently over water, right? Nope, they're not over water anymore. They are over the land. They're over the land now. Because Onigashima can be seen through the clouds from the Flower Capital. They're close. Like, if I go back to the panel where it shows... If I go back to the panel, it's actually in the previous chapter. If you can see Onigashima making its way closer and closer. They've already passed over Ringo. So they're really, really close. They are 5 minutes away from the Flower Capital. That's how far they are. 5 minutes away. They're 5 minutes away. So that's not a far distance. The shore of Wano is not a 5-minute walk or a 5-minute flight or anything. They are 5 minutes away from the capital. Anyone else not feel this chapter? A lot of people, including myself, don't know how to feel about Kinemon's body coming apart again and then just running through Onigashima again. But the theory that Katos came up with about how the Straw Hats were the one, then who's catching the island when Luffy beats Kaido? That's the thing. Momonosuke is currently the person who has the job of creating his own flame clouds to counteract Kaido's flame clouds. That's the reason why Momonosuke is still outside right now. He's outside trying to create his own flame clouds at a very slow pace right now to try and counteract Kaido's weakening flame clouds. And if he can create his own flame clouds to repel Onigashima, then he can push it away from Wano, or at least to a place that is far away from the Flower Capital, saving all the people there. That's what Momonosuke's doing. That's all Momonosuke's doing outside right now. He's the only one outside trying to come up with flame clouds to repel Onigashima so that it doesn't fall on the Flower Capital once Kaido gets beaten by Luffy. That's the whole job that he's been posted with when Yamato left him. So that's going on there. I'm gonna be honest, this makes no sense. Welcome to One Piece. I mean, it kind of makes sense to me that Momonosuke... it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. Yeah, I mean, the whole chapter was just meh to me. I still hope Kid gets killed by Big Mom. A lot of people hope that a lot of big names get killed for some reason. I don't understand it. Maybe it just feels... maybe some of y'all feel like there needs to be a death quota for somebody. I don't get that. Pretty sure we have some type of time limit, but I forgot the time. I believe it was 5 minutes. If I go back, let me see. One of these chapters show that Onigashima is only a couple of minutes away from the Flower Capital. So let me see if I can find that real quick. But Sanji is fighting Queen, and he's finding out that he's superhuman. Zoro is fighting King, and he's actually destroyed a piece of his mask. Oh, I don't know why y'all trying to move all slow. Let me see if I can find Onigashima, because there was a title card letting us know just how far away they are. They did it. They showed us in one panel. It might actually be farther away. It might actually be in the last month's chapters as well. Let me go to 1026. Let's see. Blast Breath. I just think if we are taking on the two biggest names in the world, we have to lose some people, not just fodder. I mean, I'd understand if this was just like your standard story. So you're telling me Momo is supposed to learn how to use the fire clouds, matching the level of Kaido's fire clouds? Nope. I'm sorry, Karma, but that's the current situation that the narrative is going with right now. That's the whole... I'm not the one writing this story. I can only tell you what the chapters are telling me. Momonosuke has been appointed the person who's supposed to create flame clouds that surpasses Kaido's in order to keep Onigashima from falling. Hey, I don't write it. That's Oda. That's all Oda. Okay, so it's not on this chapter. It's not on chapter 1026, so it might be further in. Because one of these chapters let us know just how far away they are. Hold on. In Marineford, we also lost two big names, so why not here? Hey, I don't know. This is Oda telling the Wano story. If we don't lose anybody, okay. If we do lose somebody, okay. I just want to see what happens, pretty much. So I can't really say like, oh, this person needs to die, because then you have to think about what purpose does it serve. You can't just randomly kill someone. You can't just randomly kill someone in order for it to feel impactful. It has to, a major death in this story has to make sense. You can't just have a person killed off for no other reason of, okay, these people died in Marineford, so some names have to die here. What for? Every death in Marineford had a purpose. Can't just say you want people to die without reason. If you want Kid to die, what is the purpose? What purpose does it serve for the narrative? That's the thing you got to think about before you start saying that, oh, I hope this person dies. Why do you hope they die? Why? Why do you hope this person dies? Do you think it's going to do something for people in the future? These are things you got to consider before you start putting death flags on everybody. Now, here, I'm going through these chapters. It's not showing. One of these chapters said 128. Yeah, I'm right. On 128, it's 5 minutes left. I was right. 5 minutes. I was right. Well, it is impactful. He is the anti-Luffy. That doesn't mean anything, though. Just because he's an anti-Luffy means that he needs to die. Blackbeard is the anti-Luffy. I don't see how that makes sense, because that doesn't. Kid being the anti-Luffy doesn't make sense because Blackbeard is the anti-Luffy. The entire crew of the Blackbeard Pirates is the anti-Straw Hats. But Kid dying just because he's the opposite of Luffy, that doesn't do anything for the story. That doesn't do anything for his character. This dude's not like Luffy, so he dies. Doesn't make sense. Things have to make sense. For a death to happen, it has to make sense. Whitebeard's death signified the end of his era of piracy. Portgas D. Ace dying signified that, hey, Luffy went through all of this trouble to rescue his brother, only for him to die at the end, and it caused him to be so depressed and resentful that he nearly gave up the dream of wanting to be king of the pirates. He is a character that does what Luffy does, just fails at what he does. That still doesn't make. That still doesn't give a reason for Kid to be a person that get killed off. So based on his personality, that qualifies as him. Based on the personality and the person he is, that qualifies as him needing to be one of the people that dies during this whole arc. Still doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't apply. You still haven't explained to me how it applies to the narrative. You're only speaking on the individual. You haven't told me why you think him dying would apply to the narrative and actually do something towards the story. Every major death has major implications towards either a single character or a bunch of characters or the world at large. Just him dying, just for the sake of him dying, needs to have some sort of impact other than him just being, he's not like Luffy, or his behavior's not like Luffy, or he tries to do what Luffy does but fails. That's not, story-wise, a reason for Kid to die. I'm sorry, but I just can't agree with that. That makes no sense. But we got 4 chapters here in the month of October. There's still... every time I read through these chapters, I keep going over the loose ends that we need to tie up. So the fight between Scratchman but the fight between Apu and Drake, apparently that's on hold right now because they're just having a conversation on some sort of chamber while Apu is just eating and drinking and he's just chilling. Lost an arm to Shanks. Shanks gave an arm to Luffy. Formed an alliance and it got backstabbed. Luffy will not be backstabbed. Luffy awakened Conqueror's Kid, has awakened Devil Fruit. Okay. What does that got to do with the story, though? Like I said, narrative implications and how it impacts the story matters over how this person is just individually, or the stuff that's happened to him in the past. It has to make sense. A death in One Piece has to make sense and has to be impactful, not just towards a whole bunch of characters, but the world at large as well. Because if Kid were to die, then what does that do for the story? You have to think about what could that possibly do for the story that makes his death warranted. That's the thing. Now, you can come up with a bunch of theories about how that could possibly happen and how it can affect people attached to him and everything, but story-wise, it has to make sense. And I stand by what I say. Now, we went through this entire month, and I've said this in previous months, we're slowly but surely tying up more loose ends, but it still feels like we have so much to cover. Like, all the Toby Roppo are down. Jack, one of the Calamities is down. Jack is down. Who else? Pedal's Pedal is down. Scratchman versus Drake, that's on hold right now. So the only real major fights that are going on right now is Big Mom versus Law and Kid, and Fukuro Kuju versus Raizo, and Kaido versus Luffy, Queen versus Sanji, and Zoro versus King. Those are the only fights going on right now. And everyone's up and about, running around. Onigashima is on fire. Kanjudo's just made a giant flaming Umibozu, and that's setting the entire area on fire even more, increasing the danger because the thing can go through walls. So the danger aspect of Onigashima being on fire is reached a new peak thanks to this new ghost drawing that Kanjudo has made. All that's going on while Yamato's running around trying to find the storeroom where the weapons and all that stuff is being stored to mitigate the damage, on just the off chance that Momonosuke fails to hold up Onigashima. Momonosuke is outside trying to slowly but surely, like poof, make clouds, and then trying to counteract on the job of counteracting Kaido's own flame clouds, which are weakening due to him fighting Luffy right now. There's still quite a few things going on right now, but thankfully, not as much as it used to be. So I know this is taking a while, and I feel like what's going on, I don't think Wano's ending soon. I'm guessing it's going to be a 5-year arc ending at around 180 chapters, like in 1089 and 2023. Oh my goodness. Thinking about chapters getting to 1089 just brings up the thoughts of, hey, we're about to get to 1100 chapters of One Piece. Can you imagine that those words coming out of my mouth? We're getting to 1100 chapters of One Piece. Can you imagine me saying that? Another set of years of One Piece? Wano can't last that long. That's long. I don't even think Marineford lasted that long. But we'll have to see. But there's still so many things that are going on with Wano right now. Even though it may seem like we're tying up more loose ends, it just seems like more things just keep creeping up. But thankfully, every other side fight is done right now. And all the major ones are pretty much taking center stage, which is good. Big Mom versus Kid and Law, that's good, because Basil Hawkins is out of the picture. Basil Hawkins and the fight between him and Killer is done. King and Queen are fighting Zoro and Sanji respectively. And we have Luffy versus Kaido that's going on right now. And Fukuro Kuju versus Raizo, which we have not seen for a bunch of chapters now. Like, we haven't seen any heads or tails of Fukuro Kuju versus Raizo. Out of all the Scabbard fights, Marineford was 31 chapters. How long has Wano been going on? Marineford was 34 chapters, but we haven't seen Raizo versus Fukuro Kuju ever since their big fight where we saw Raizo fighting Fukuro Kuju, and Fukuro Kuju is, hitting people with giant earlobes and stuff like that. We really haven't seen much of them since then. That's the only side fight that's still happening. All the other ones are just major fights. So Raizo versus Fukuro Kuju is the last side fight that we need to get out of the way so we can only focus on the Calamity fights between King and Queen and the Yonko fights with Kaido and Big Mom. Those are the only ones we need. It might actually be that long, 4 main fights, and after all the fighting is done, the characters got to talk and party. That's a lot of content. Karma, you are very, very right. I keep forgetting that even if all the fighting is done, there's still the aftermath. Oh my god, we are going to be here for a while. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. It's just that me thinking that everything is just going to start to settle and that's over and done with once this is all done, it's just dawned on me, because of you guys, that even when this fight is over, there is still the aftermath. There is still Luffy saying like, hey, we're not going to have a party until after all this stuff is done. There's still all that. There's still the aftermath. And then there's still the after party. And who knows what other twists Oda has in store for us? One Piece is never going to end, is it? Wano started in June or July of 2018. We are in 2021. That's 3 years of Wano. Marineford was 31 chapters. Wano is going on 3 years right now. Good God, this arc is long. I don't know. I'm not saying I don't know in just terms of just the story overall. It's just that Oda, this might be one of the longest stories I've ever read. On this channel, at least. It's just, really, can we just honestly say, we don't know just how long Wano is going to go. Because you guys just telling me about the after party and the aftermath just reminded me that Wano's probably going to go longer than I originally thought. It's just hitting me right now. It's just that all this stuff that I'm saying that we're going to resolve with all these fights, and then I have to think of what happens after the fights. I honestly don't know what to... Oh, boy. One Piece is not going anywhere for a very long time. But this is where I'm going to bring this stream to a close, everyone. I've been going for 2 hours! 2 hours, wow. It's 1:41 right now. I've been going for 2 hours right now. I think Act 3 is longer than Skypiea. 4 years for one arc is crazy. 4 years? It's 4 years? Hold on. You know what? Hold on. Story arcs. Hold on. We're about to find this out right now. We're going to put the exact time frame right now. Okay. The first chapter that started in the Wano arc. Well, actually, you know what? Let me just go to the Wano arc page as a whole. It started in 2018. First chapter was chapter 909. Now, if we go to 909... No, 908 technically, but 909 officially. Oh, don't you give me that nonsense of, oh no, this page isn't available. 909. That chapter was released on July 2nd, 2018. All right. July 2nd. We're going to crunch the numbers. And I know someone else is doing it before I can even get to it, but let me do it. July 2nd, 2018 to today. How long ago was July 2nd, 2018? Just say how many years it's been. Okay, Monday, July 2nd, 2018 was 3 years, 3 months, and 29 days ago. There it is. It was right at the top of the page. I completely ignored it. So for 3 years, we have been in Wano. And my family's calling me. Hold on. And I missed the call. Never mind. But we've been in Wano for 3 years. Nah, it's 3, but Wano is going to hit 4 for sure. Thanks for the stream. Have a good one. All right, Ogata-san. I know I've been going on for a little bit long. I still have My Hero Academia to go through and the newest One Piece chapter, so I got to bring this to a close now. We've been in Wano for 3 years, and who knows how much longer it's going to go. It's just... There's just so much going on with Wano, and then Wano is introducing things that's going on out there in the world right now, such as the world government making a move towards Wano. So even if they get done with the aftermath and the after party, they still got to be concerned with the world government coming into Wano trying to take over. To be honest, last year was shorter with all those breaks. Yeah, last year was a lot shorter for One Piece because of all the breaks. But we're coming up on November, starting next. Why did I look at my light like that was my camera? We're coming up on November tomorrow, and there have been so many chapters of One Piece, and we're not going on break after this one. So this whole year has just been jam-packed with One Piece episodes. But nonetheless, I am looking forward to what these series of chapters are going to lead us to towards the end of this year and as we move into the next one. We got to consider breaks too. Yeah, we got to consider all the breaks. So the time spent in Wano could be a little bit shorter if we just count the days that these chapters have been released and not the amount of time that has passed between breaks and chapters themselves. I think Wano is going to be the longest arc in One Piece, though. It is majorly long, but it's also one of the most detailed chapters that we've had in One Piece ever, because it's introduced the brand new concepts, people we've never heard of, backstories or anything. It's just like, ain't no way we getting 3 going on 4 years for an arc again. Oh no, we are not. But we're just gonna have to see where this story goes going forward as we move into November tomorrow. I'm bringing it to a close here, ladies and gentlemen, so I can read the newest chapter of My Hero Academia, and then I'll do my usual One Piece reactions to the new One Piece episodes. So apologies if it gets pushed out a little bit later today due to how long this stream has lasted. There was just so much to go through. But I did enjoy it nonetheless, all the talks we've had, and I really do hope you all enjoyed this whole session of One Piece. Might be one of the longest One Piece streams I've done in a while. But all the same, I'm happy because I enjoyed every single second of it. So I just want to say, hope you all enjoyed. Well, actually, before I even do my outro, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for sticking out, for everyone just sticking out this whole 2 hours. Wow, you guys are the real MVPs. Not saying that if anyone's left during this whole time before I said this are not MVPs. I just want to say thank you for sticking it out. And your continued support for this channel just encourages me to do even more for you, because that is what this channel is for. It's not just for me, it's for you guys as well. And with that being said, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then consider subscribing, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later peoples, on to my hero. The grind never stops.